Okay, we have a large live oak tree. It's upstream on Adobe Creek near El Camino Real in Mountain View. And the trunk diameter of this tree is about 28 to 30 inches. It's a leaning tree and it's always leaned. It's got a significant amount of weight out there. Now the concern that the homeowner has is that the tree may be falling, and they have some redwood trees planted over on their side. So apparently the homeowner has the rights to the property down to the middle of the creek, and on this side it's the water district's responsibility. So they're afraid that if this tree does fall down, it's going to crush their redwood trees, which rightfully I understand is, you know, it provides privacy and that's the backdrop to their property. So the question is this tree falling over? Is it going to fall over? What is the potential future of this tree? So I came up to the upper side of the bank, and what I'm looking for is any evidence of cracking or movement or root lifting or any changes that would lead me to believe that there's something different going on. And I can't see anything. The upper bank looks pretty sound. In fact, there is a younger live oak up here that is helping this tree. It's going to be intermingling the roots and actually rooting on the uphill side. But on the negative side, this is a creek that gets fairly high water, and we've got a lot of rocks that have been put up around the whole embankment. And they had to do a big area here because the water comes around and it turns and it rushes through, and it gets rather high up here. So the roots could be washed out. So the structural integrity of this tree is really predicated on how much water comes through here and what the future potential of the creek may end up being. So if we have this El Nino year and we get, you know, a full creek and it keeps rushing and rushing and rushing, then the best of trees are potentially going to go down. On the positive side, they put the rocks up here to do their due diligence to try to protect the embankment, but I really don't see anything that tells me that this tree is a hazard or a danger. Now it's a fairly old tree, and I do see a lot of trees that grow off the embankments or on hillsides that grow very crooked, and that's okay. They strengthen themselves through root development on the upper hill, and a lot of times trees will live for a long time without falling down. So their fear is based upon primarily the fact that the tree is leaning. Now I can't say that the tree is safe, and that would not be professional of me to say that, but what we can say is I cannot see any evidence up here that leads me to believe that there is a problem. Now looking at this from the creek side, you can tell that the high water comes up here sometimes and does cause a little bit of erosion underneath here. But my observations from this point up and all the way around the structural portions of the root system, I cannot see any evidence that shows me that there's anything different. Looks like we've got a ground squirrel or somebody living in here. And as you can see, there's a lot of rocks that are holding this embankment up, so that's going to minimize the erosion. There does seem to be an old, gosh, I'm going to say wound of something. Maybe a log came down and impacted this tree at one point when there was a high water. That's just an educated guess. I can't really tell. But looking up at the canopy, there's an awful lot of weight out there. Now if this was a homeowner's tree and they said what could we do to it, I would recommend a little bit of weight reduction just to make the tree safer. I would take out all the dead branches on this tree, but I would not do it excessively. You could probably take, I'm going to say probably about 1,000 pounds, lots and lots of little cuts balanced from both sides, especially way out on the ends, trying to minimize any stubbing, because you certainly don't want masses of suckers coming out, and leave everything that's over on this side alone. Let everything, encourage that to be counterbalancing this somewhat. And if that's done, then I'm certain that the tree would be much safer. Emphasis on the ER because there aren't many arborists that will ever say that any tree is safe.